On the Blade Master is out on the first match for GFAM, and it's going to be Sangjin Lee on the right side with the Force Master with CHOBO representing his squad. Sangjin Lee, he won at the singles last time around in the previous series, and Wanshik Lee did the same with his Blade Master, but it's going to be a situation where the Blade Master has to overcome the Force Master.
Yeah, and Wanshik Lee actually has been the Blade Master that has beaten Jung Ho-yoon, the Force Master, two times. Twice, not just once, twice. So I want to see how he plays against this Sangjin Lee.
And already, as you mentioned, he already forces out the two escapes away from the Force Master Sangjin Lee. And Wanshik Lee is on a roll, starting us off. And Wanshik Lee really wants to get the foothold going into this.
Well, Sangjin Lee does have his backstep escape. So, they both have their secondary escapes. Wanshik Lee, if he gets Phantom Grip, he will flock of blades out. Yeah, I hope. But we'll have to see what happens. Nothing too crucial has happened yet.
But that's the characteristic of a Blade Master versus a Force Master, is that you can escape from that with the secondary escape away from the Phantom Grip. So the Blade Master in advantage in regarding that part, but he's going to be looking a lot more than that because he's wanting the damage onto Sangjin Lee, which is trying to get it. They're both taking it slow for the moment, and this might be his opportunity, taking into the aerial, going on to the second aerial perhaps, and it's going to be continuation damage, putting a good amount of damage, continuing on, and doesn't use the escape for Sangjin Lee, and Sangjin Lee keeps his escape with 40% of his health away right now.
That Phantom Grip and the flock of blades knocks him back in. All right, that gives him too much health back, Sangjin Lee.
Typical of Force Masters to freeze him back up, to literally travel back in time.
Yeah, you don't want to hit them when they're in that ice.
But Wanshik Lee did a good job though, putting into the double aerial, trying to put in some damage.
He just waited out that tab escape so he doesn't get knocked back, kept that perfect distance. Wanshik Lee is playing very smart right now.
Wanshik Lee has all of his resources available. He has all of his escapes to work. He does have the Phantom Grip. Probably going to escape out of this in time. But seems
he's out of Flock of Blades, so he can't, and he uses his tab escape to escape out of it afterwards when he gets knocked down. But right now the time is 45 seconds left, and overall, as you can see, Wanshik Lee did more damage, and Sangjin Lee has healed up a lot.
So even if it goes to TKO, we obviously know the clear winner is right now. He's putting more damage on that too. Add insult to injury, and this is going to be continuation damage coming into Wanshik Lee. Might he just look out for the last remaining 30 seconds to just close this out with a TK and get a clean 1-0 for GFAM. And
there we go.
And despite of that, Sangjin Lee has to do something, because right now ending the game in this manner will not do him any justice. And that's going to be his chance, but no damage coming onto Sangjin Lee.
Okay. The Ice Burst lands. It seems as if Sangjin Lee is getting more desperate. He is playing more aggressive. He is ice bursting out of his ice armors right away.
And perhaps he should have done this in the early parts of the game, maybe. But this, we obviously know who the clear winner is. Wanshik Lee is going to doubt him above the damage, most likely, as long as we're not calculatively wrong. And it is indeed Wanshik Lee coming out with the win on the TKO for the damage charts.
Almost double. It was almost double.
And it pretty much expected, Wanshik Lee took barely any damage, and in return took a lot of damage onto Sangjin Lee. Even with the healing up, just kind of showing us why the Force Master should be a little bit more aggressive in the early game, no matter how afraid you are.
Yeah, and I'm comfortably to say, that Wanshik Lee is the Force Master's worst enemy, right?
It says G-Farm.
Oh, did it? Did it say that?
Yeah, it did say G-Farm.
Oh, no.
Please do not call them G-Farm for your Twitch viewers out there. We will continue to call them G-Farm no matter what OGN decides to call them. We will not troll on them by calling them G-Farm. But going back to the game, what do you consider this overall outplay? Could Sangjin Lee have done anything better?
Well, Wanshik Lee has that confidence going up against Force Masters to start with. Yeah. And Wanshik Lee just beating Jung Ho-yoon, it means that he is so, well prepared for Force Masters. So Sangjin Lee, he did try his best. He did switch it up in mid-game where, early game, he was playing it very slow defensively. But throughout, starting from mid-game, he bursted out of his ice armor faster, tries to go out aggressive, throwing down the meteor storms. But it's just, Wanshik Lee he's so used to that Force Master play that he just comfortably dealt the damage that he needed to. He didn't overdo his actions.
And even within the Phantom Grip, we saw he uses Tab Escape to escape that, but actually it was a good play because he took little to no damage in the result of that play and didn't get punished for the use of Tab Escape. So in the end, Wanshik Lee knows how to work against the Force Master, and he showed that against the best. And now he showed against CHOBO side with Sang-Jun Lee. Now that's going to be a 1-0 up for GFAM, and CHOBO has to look for more hopes. Of course, you know, with this being a best of 7, 1 point is not going to kill the difference, but each momentum that you take into every match is going to be very vital, as into whether GFAM is going to be continuing on with this with the second match with Suwon Kim on your favorite KFM going up against the Youngjin Shin, our prominent player on the Assassin. This is the guy to look out for.
These are the two stars of the team, if I may say.
Very true.
They are both. They both perform very well during tag as well as singles.
Yeah.
Both of them. So Youngjin Shin, even being on the rookie team, we've seen his assassin at work, and I'm very excited to see a new assassin coming into play against Suwon Kim, who has been a formidable KFM throughout this season, last season, and last year.
Sure, and if you look on the screen, Youngjin Shin, he looks extremely confident about his situation.
Yeah.
He is not afraid at one bit against prominently the best KFM in the game, but we're going to see whether Youngjin Shin can prove his confidence and make it work into a result on the Game 2 singles coming your way. Let's get it on. This second match really could tell us the true story of these two teams, where the best players, essentially, of the two squads now gonna face it off in singles. And Youngjin Shin, he has showed incredible amount of confidence going into this match. Whether he can translate that into result, we have to see.
Yeah, and he lands that ice mine in the air, in midair. Yeah, that was good.
Hard to see that.
Yeah, but he made nothing out of it yet. There we go. Tab escape is used by Suwon Kim already. There we go into the area with the flurry.
As soon as he picks up the flower, Suwon Kim goes up on the aerial, puts him under the stun. He might have to use a stun, but he's too late. Gets him onto another aerial. Suwon Kim putting incredible amount of damage. And to a reminder of us that Suwon Kim, this is the same Suwon Kim who carried his team 1v3 against the former series that we saw earlier in the day. But Suwon Kim looking extremely good.
Whoa,
still,
that leg sweep during that stealth was amazing play by Suwon Kim.
Youngjin Shin, all that confidence has not gone anywhere because he goes into the stealth and tries to make something happen, puts him down to knockdown.
Yeah, and that back roll, he didn't make any effort to chase that as well.
So a little bit of intimidation coming in from Suwon Kim now. It's going to be enough damage probably. Doesn't finish him off yet.
Right click. All right.
In a moment of time, Suwon Kim will finish him off, and this looks like a one-sided match. Best time to send out Suwon Kim, who hasn't come out for the singles in the previous series, now puts himself available in this series, and the singles is making a statement towards CHOBO that you guys are the rookie team, we are the experienced team, and Suwon Kim really stepping up this season. I have to mention that.
Yeah, and he just made such great plays, especially that leg sweep during Youngjin Shin being in stealth. Just buying himself time and creating an opportunity when an assassin is in stealth. That's his opportunity.
Yeah.
But Suwon Kim landing that leg sweep, it just flipped that board, brought that offensive. From starting from a defensive position, created the opportunity to go on the offensive, and Suwon Kim just overall just outplayed Youngjin Shin.
It was a complete outplay indeed, and he's been showing that all day, especially starting from the tag and now on to the singles. We have to mention how Suwon Kim has improved essentially starting from Season 2, that Season 1 obviously he carried his team going into the semifinals, but this is where you mentioned the complete domination of the seemingly confident Youngjin Shin, who couldn't have any answers in response to what Suwon Kim was throwing at him.
Yeah, the replay speaks for itself. Suwon Kim just landing all of his CCs. He knows when to use it.
Yeah.
He knows the cooldowns, obviously. So, Youngjin Shin could not make any moves on Suwon Kim.
And there was nothing to really speak of for Youngjin Shin, who was spectacular in the previous series against another rookie team, but against the likes of GFAM, and especially against the best KFM, as we know, with Suwon Kim, he looks baffled just as we are, because, you know, I think we expected a little more off of Youngjin Shin than that one.
Yeah, and CHOBO, in their interview, they said they want to go up against GFAM because they are formidable, even with a non-meta pick, and they want to, you know, try to beat them. That will give them the confidence, but it is definitely not going their way, and this first tag team match of this Game 3 is going to definitely be the game maker. Even though it's not the last game, it's going to either break CHOBO's mentality, or it's just gonna gain them some confidence if they are able to take this win.
And the confidence you speak of is very prominent for GFAM, especially because getting this win in tag right now is already good at getting in a good footstep, but 4-0 is going to be hugely going through. But just beyond that, just the fact that you are a rookie team facing off against a veteran team, and the fact that you're already 4-0 behind is an extreme mental shock to them. And we're going to see whether CHOBO can bring this back. This is going to be a question to ask, because we're going to get the tag match underway with Game 3 between GFAM and CHOBO coming right your way. So let's get it on. No offense to GFAM in any way, but it's so awkward to say that GFAM is a dominating team right now.
Yeah, like, we've usually seen GFAM on the, you know, the minority vote, the lower, you know, the lower bracket, like
you're
losing
always, you're always the underdogs.
Yeah, the underdogs. But you know, they you know, they have to have a chance to show them what they've got.
And this is a really good chance for these guys to build up the confidence that they have been lacking, as stated by themselves. And Min Jung-oh is one of the few characters really has emphasized the lack of confidence that she had in the tournaments, and she's going to try to look to get that back. The Cat taking a lot of damage, and the Cat is down to 10% health. This is looking very good for Min Jung-oh, who has no escape to work with other than the back roll that is going to be very helpful.
It's okay, she's a summoner. She has tons of heals.
Hey,
it's okay. It's okay.
But it's going to be enough to force out Won Shigli and the Blade Master back into the play. And Youngjin Shin, this guy is going to be looking for redemption, because he knows himself that this was not the performance that he should have expected in Game 2.
The area for the defensive interfere. That was good on GFAM right now. The defensive interfere.
The defensive interfere coming in from Suwon Kim, on point with that defensive interfere, negating much of that damage. Now the interfere coming in from CHOBO as well, trying to make some damage off of that to Won Shigli.
Yeah, that was an offensive interfere. They staggered that interfere on purpose, but they made nothing out of it. They just basically wasted an interfere point.
But Won Shigli is still out of his tag right now, out of his escape right now. So this is a chance for Youngjin Shin with the 10 seconds that he has. That's going to be a chance for him to make a play, but Min Jung-oh does come in the interfere, tries putting some damage. Negate some of that damage. You're forced to use another tag.
The force tag is coming.
Oh, the chase is going to be...
Oh, no.
It's actually going to be happening on, but Min Jung-oh on the summoner is forced back out. Now, GFAM is already used to use 2 tag points already, while CHOBO has all of their tag points still available. They only went with the free tag. Now it's on the Sang-Jun Lee on the Force Master back out. Oh, actually putting good damage onto Won Shigli. The Meteor! It's actually going to put in a lot of damage, and this is going to be looking good. First time looking good for Sang-Jun Lee now.
This is the revenge that, you know, Sang-Jun Lee wants on Won Shigli for beating him.
And this is the exact amount of momentum that they really need to shift back into their way, because the momentum is going to be very crucial going into the best of 7s. And right now, CHOBO is looking to be clearly the better team right now, with so many resources available to them.
Yeah, and Won Shigli is trying to make an
opportunity
offensive into the reactionary 2-on-2 interfere.
And a little bit late from CHOBO, but a good offensive interfere from Won Shigli from the GFAM side to make the most out of that opportunity. But Sang-Jun Lee is still at a decent amount of health to work with. He has all of his escape available, while Won Shigli is out of his tab escape. Uses another tag out. Now he may be feeling nervous about the lack of tag escapes that he had, but this is going to be a 2v2.
Oh no, Sang-Jun Lee takes too much damage.
Oh, but it does tag out in time, and Youngjin Shin does come back out with a healthy Suwon Kim, trying to do some work for GFan like he did in the previous series.
All right, Min Jung-ho and Won Lee both having one interfere left. So as long as Suwon Kim is able to endure on the field, because he is out of all of his interferes, but he does have 2 tag points. So it makes sense that Suwon Kim is on the field, where the 2 teammates with the interferes are on bench. So they're going to try to knock one player out at a time.
So whether CHOBO can make an opportunity out of this resources that they have with the tag points being at their favor. Now Suwon Kim taking a lot of damage. He can't afford to take a lot of damage because he has to stay alive for a long time.
All right, that back roll chase with the landmine was good.
And this
and
was
the assassin ult.
The attack point coming in for
attack
Min
point.
Jung-ho.
Oh, there we
is that
go.
good enough damage to knock out Youngjin Shin. And despite how ahead CHOBO actually was, Youngjin Shin is going to be the first man to be knocked out of this tag match. And right now, GFam is ahead 3-2.
Yep, and now Min Jung-ho is on the field with 1 interfere points but no tag points. So she basically has to endure 1 minute and 18 seconds until she is force tagged out. So if she does get knocked out, within that 1 minute, they definitely want to try to do that.
Right now, the interfere point is what Min Jung-ho is going to be relying on once she does get that back soon enough. But right now, Jae-hoon Lim, who we haven't seen too much of, is out on the field against Min Jung-ho and trying to do something with it.
Well, it's basically Min Jung-ho on her own.
Yep.
Because her teammates don't have any interfere points to help her out. She doesn't have a tag point to tag out. So for the next 45, 47 seconds, she's alone.
And Jae-hoon Lim is trying to make some work with that.
Ooh, the cat actually hits that ult.
And
that daze.
We usually don't see that from the summoner, but this time it does hit. And the jump.
Oh, the KFM ult.
Oh
my god, the KFM ult!
What was that damage?
The KFM ult. Oh my.
When's the last time we saw KFM ult hit?
Oh, we actually did see it.
Oh, actually we did see it earlier in the day.
This was as good as that one.
Wow, but you guys now know that you guys should be playing KFM, trying to hit that ultimate every single time. Oh, a lot of series of plays coming in. Won Lee trying to make something work.
Yeah, with that ult again. Oh my god, ults back and forth. Watching Lee use his ult, and Sungjin Lee's like, yo, I got my ult too.
And Sungjin Lee does heal a good amount of his health back into play, and he does have 1 more tag point if he chooses to use it. And Won Lee, he's going to be looking for this opportunity. Both of them has very little escapes to work with, but Won Lee is going to be looking for this opportunity to get his team even further ahead. Double aerial is going to be looking onto the additional damage coming onto this play, but Sungjin Lee gets out of there before he can take too much.
Yeah, and Sungjin Lee does get so the tab escape was traded, but he tags out. Watching Lee is in a difficult position right now. No escapes, no tag points, no interfere points.
And this is looking very good chance for CHOBO. Now gets him into stun into continue damage. And the KFM doesn't seem to stop. This is going to be good enough damage. Most likely. And this is going to be a knockout for another member of GFM. Now Suwon Kim, the savior, has to be the one to carry this game, but it's automatically chased as soon as he comes in. And it is onto the aerial, taking a lot of damage early on.
Oh no! You didn't see the ice ball on top?
And Suwon Kim just tossing away a huge opportunity that he could have gotten with the damage.
Oh, the triple kick lands!
Oh, but Suwon Kim now taking the damage off of that stun, and he can't do anything about this. And Jae-hoon Lee, who we haven't seen anything about this guy now, is going to be doing enough damage onto GFam. Oh, he doesn't finish him off there.
What? Come on!
Maybe his skills were on cooldown
June.
Oh no! Now this might be, he might regret this opportunity now. Suwon Kim is going to be looking for this God-given opportunity to come back into this play, but Jae-hoon Lim now uses the attack point that he has available. Now Force Master trying to finish him off, trying to put the burst damage onto him, trying to finish him as quickly as he can, because the longer GFam is alive, is going to get nervous for CHOBO, and this is going to, they have to finish him off as soon as possible.
Kim is just amazing right now. He just made Jae-hoon Lim waste his interfere point. So now it's comfortable for Suwon Kim to do a 1v1 with Sungjin Lee.
It's the slimmest of health that he has to work with, though. Sungjin Lee is going to be looking for just 1 burst damage, and it's going to be enough to finish him off. But Suwon Kim, as a prominent player that we know he is, he's going to be looking for some way, but it won't be enough to go up against the 1v2 on that slimmest of health that GFam is now even. They're even with 2v2. 2v2 versus CHOBO, and CHOBO, this is where they make their statement and really just call themselves that they are evenly matched team against GFAM.
Yeah, that was a very
nice play.
Very well played. GFAM looked like they well, I don't want to say wasted. They used up their tag and interfere points too hastily.
Yeah, it was.
They did make some good interfere ins, tagging in, interfere in. Yeah. Well, anyways, yeah, they did use their interfere points wisely. However, it's just CHOBO, them taking a little more damage early game, but them saving those tag and interfere points for the mid-late game actually brought them the victory, creating more opportunities, and it was very well played by CHOBO.
And as you see on the screen, Suwon Kim looks very frustrated at his situation where I think the communication between his teammates wasn't to his benefit, because Suwon Kim being the captain of the team, he makes the primary shot calling, which have been successful in the past, but in games like this where you talk about those tag points and when you talk about those interfere points that have been used a little bit more hastily, and those things really run into the end where you don't have any of those resources available anymore, then you just can't win out the game 1v2.
Yeah. Well, it was, see, like right now, if you notice, like, CHOBO gets one of CHOBO's players gets taken out first.
Yeah.
So that is the result of GFAM using their interfere points early on in the game. So creating that advantage.
Sure.
However, they have to utilize that. They have to capitalize on that man down. However, but Min Jung-ho just gets hit by that KFM ult, and she just gets knocked out with almost 50 health to 0.
So as you say, ending is it was more of a perceived advantage that GFAM had, because they knocked one man out, but it was due to a lot of resources being used to make that happen.
Yeah.
So in the later turn of the event, in the later parts of the game where they didn't have those resources anymore, and CHOBO with a lot more resource advantage with those tag points and interference available, it was prominent that they were going to actually get out the advantage and translate that into a win, which they did. So very good of the CHOBO squad to actually make that done. Very calm and very settled against this very experienced veteran team.
Yeah, definitely. Like if GFAM, if they want to use up their points, that's fine, because they get to knock out a player. But they have to be confident enough to get that snowball rolling. Like you can't have using all your points and get knocked out later on. You have to keep that snowball rolling, make it bigger. Don't give the opponent the chance to come back. But they gave them that opportunity to come back, and now we have our 4th match back to singles.
And GFAM is going to be sending out Min Jung-ho on the Summoner, while Jae-hoon Lim, the Elvis in real life Kung Fu Master, is going to be playing the Kung Fu Master for the CHOBO side. And this is going to be really the clincher for how much momentum CHOBO can shift onto their future games, because now this is going to be the important parts of the best of 7, where now it's 2v2. Now each point will really matter into the progression of the game, and there's going to be a chance for CHOBO to make a statement here and get another point right back.
Exactly, and because it's tied, it's basically 0-0 because it's tied, and whoever wins this set is going to probably continue that momentum, because CHOBO wasn't able to win any singles yet, so this is their chance to prove GFAM wrong, and we are ready for our next set. Let's get into it.
We are in this 4th match between GFAM and CHOBO, and we are with Summoner Min Jung-ho on the left side on the Summoner, of course, and Jae-hoon Lim on the Kung Fu Master, as you are always excited about.
Yeah, I'm always excited for KFM. Like, whoever is playing KFM, it's just because I like, he's my character.
Just meet a friend for the first time and they just introduce you and say, hey, I play KFM, then you're just Ending's best friend.
Yeah.
Oh, but that's not going to be good.
Oh!
What is this damage coming up from the Min Jung-ho along with the Cat's help, putting in the additional damage? But Jae-hoon Lim, 100 to 40, quite literally in an instant. And it's going to be looking very bad. He has already used his tab escape.
All right, Min Jung-ho using that tab escape, but Jae-hoon Lim knocking her out of stealth was crucial right now. That probably startled Min Jung-ho right now.
but actually that's gonna be one escape less for Min Jung-ho. Now this is gonna be Jaewoon Lim putting some damage back. That's like gonna be the summoner. Typically, once you give her the opportunity, she will put a lot of damage on you with the cat helping her out.
Yeah, rumble bees. You know, if the bees are gonna sting, it's gonna hurt.
Right? And, you know, I don't like getting stung by rumble bees, and probably this Elvis guy doesn't either. And he seemed a little bit baffled because we always know this. Yeah, we always know the summoner as this burst damage class, where you know if you give him an opportunity, the burst damage will come your way. And he took that 2 times in a row, and that's just literally 100-0 KO.
Yeah. Oh, they fixed it. It's not G-Farm anymore.
Hey!
Quick fix. But anyways, yeah. I was surprised how fast Jaewoon Lim was taken out because he played fairly well during the tag team matches. Yeah. So I was expecting maybe even whoever wins, regardless of who wins, I thought Jaewoon Lim was gonna give you know Min Jung-ho a hard time. Yeah. But it was a fairly easy game, a fast game.
Yeah, but Jaewoon Lim on the screen, as you see, looks very frustrated at himself for the performance that he had. But you know, no shouts to him because it's just one mistake really could make all the difference for against a summoner, because just like that, you can take all the damage out in an instant, and that just really decides the match between the two classes. And now Min Jung-ho getting the G-Fan side back on track with a 3-2 lead now, and we're gonna head on to Game 5. It's gonna be another singles, and hopefully this is gonna be another decider to help us decide which team is the better one right now, because it's really hard to tell just right now.
Yeah, well, there's only one more singles left, which is now set 5. And even if G-Fan wins, let's just say CHOBO is a better tag team overall, then they're gonna take the victory in the end, because there's one more singles and then we have 2 more tag teams left. So now we have Wonshik Lee on the Blade Master and Youngjin Shin on the Assassin.
And this is the man we've always been watching for, Youngjin Shin. He has been performing well, but a little bit inconsistency might be the right word for this guy, because in the first singles of this series, he didn't perform as well as we probably expected him to. But this is his chance to really step it up for his team, because CHOBO really needs a good win and a good 1 point heading into this 3v3 potentially. And this is going to be a chance for CHOBO to really make a statement. And, as confident as this guy looks, sometimes it just doesn't translate into the plays. And whether he can do it this time around against the same enemy that he lost to in singles in the Game 1, let's see how it does. Let's see whether he can keep smiling after that game. We have to see. But it's going to be going on to the next match.
Yeah, and Wonshik Lee has actually been pretty consistent on his Blade Master during singles, so we'll have to see how he plays against an assassin. Let's get ready to get into set 5.
Game 5 does begin between GFAM and CHOBO, and GFAM currently is up 3-2, and this is going to be another chance for Wonshik Lee to get a repeat performance that he got in Game 1 against the same opponent, Youngjin Shin, and he's going to be looking to add another point onto GFAM.
Forces Youngjin Shin to use his tab escape or stealth right off the bat, puts down the flower, goes aggressive, forces Wonshik Lee to use his tab escape as well.
So Youngjin Shin doing work right after that plays, but does go over to the double aerial. It's a little bit of graphic glitch, it seems like, but nevertheless, we can see what's going on, and Youngjin Shin, without his escape, puts the landmine, now puts him not on the edge anymore, so good of him. Good of him to do that. Actually, doesn't pop it right away.
It might be over.
It might be. He puts it right away, trying to put in continuation damage as much as he could. Wow, what a combo from Youngjin Shin.
This is the assassin.
Woo!
Like, this is...
Whoa, my goodness.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy.
This guy, I'm telling you. It's do or die. It's all in or nothing. This guy, Youngjin Shin. How many times do you see an assassin?
No. An assassin doing 100-0 is it's not uncommon.
I don't think I think it's a little bit uncommon against Wonshik Lee though. He was very prominent and really calm throughout the singles matches. That's what I wanted to really mention, because Wonshik Lee, he won the first singles in a pretty comfortable fashion, and just this same repeat matchup that we had in Game 5. It was a surprise that Youngjin Shin pulled it off.
Yeah, well, give any assassin, a formidable assassin, and an opportunity where when they know you don't have an escape, you're done. 100-0 by an assassin is an obvious fact, when they know you don't have an escape. It's just continual stuns, continual CCs into tons of damage.
Tons of damage that it was, because Yeonjin Shin, this is the guy that I'm really looking forward to, because plays like that really shows how impressive he can be, but on the other hand, he can be extremely disappointing on the other hand as well, losing down 100-0 in an instant as well, where he can pull that off himself. But this is going to be going on to this with 3v3 now.
Yeah.
And even for CHOBO against GFAM, and this is going to be going on to the tag match. Now we have the situation where we mentioned to you that if it's 3v3 by the end of Game 5, we're going to be going to the last match, and this will be the last match. It won't be like the previous season where this match won't matter anymore, but this is going to be the actual last match, deciding the winner of this series.
Yeah, so basically, like we told you, that best out of 7 is first team to reach 6 points, and right now they're tied at 3-3.
Yeah.
So usually it would have been set 6, which will be
2 points.
2 points, and it'll give either team 5 points, and it's basically useless.
Yeah.
So we decided to change it, so if it becomes 3-3, the next tag will be 3 points, giving whoever wins the team the victory of this whole set or this whole series.
So thank you to OG and NCSoft for making that change. It was a good change indeed, and we won't get an extra game to enjoy these two teams off, unfortunately, but we will get the decider, and we will move right on to the last match of the series between GFAM and CHOBO. We're going to see which team gets to be the winner of Group A, and let's get the match underway. As we sort of expected with these two teams, having watched them in day 1 of today, we expected these guys to be fairly even, and they showed exactly what they're capable of, and CHOBO, seemingly behind the first 2 games, now come back with enough points to get into the last match. But Min Jung-ho, who's been looking very strong for the most part, is up against Yeonjin Shin, also the superstar of this team. Who can make the first statement, we have to see.
Yep. Nothing too much is going on right now. Both of them have their escapes. The landmine does not connect.
Yeah. And Yeonjin Shin putting in the stun onto Min Jung-ho and putting the bombard and putting the damage. Perhaps she could have used the escape, but she does use it now, and she is out of the tab escape. And Yeonjin Shin now has to use his escape. Stealth is out of the way, and there's going to be more bombard, actually more damage on Min Jung-ho. Min Jung-ho looking a little bit baffled in this play. Once she comes in for the defensive interfere, doesn't get too much out of that.
Yeah, Min Jung-ho getting bombarded on the cat and herself is gonna just give CHOBO the damage advantage if it ever goes down to a TKO.
Yeah.
So you don't want to do that. You don't want your cat and yourself to get double CC'd. So Min Jung-ho has to watch out for that. And she does get her escape back as well as Yeonjin Shin. So let's go. There we go.
Another stun into the air. There's a landmine. Will probably connect. Doesn't really connect, but Yeonjin Shin putting into the area as soon as she gets her escape back. Now, obviously in the area, she can't use the escape, so she still has her escape available along with Yeonjin Shin. So Yeonjin Shin feeling pretty good about his situation. He's gonna go continuously, ham onto the team, and the defensive interfere coming in from GFAM as well. And the force tag out will, she actually used the tag out before, and the chase does come into play. And the force tag also chased by GFAM as well, so the chase working for both sides. But the difference is that GFAM had to use one of his tag points, whereas CHOBO was force tag, so getting a free tag out of that. But actually the Force Master putting in the Meteor. But before that, a lot of damage. Another tag point has to be used for GFAM. This is looking like a deja vu of the last tag match.
Yeah, Suwon Kim finally comes out on the field. The team captain, he wants to make something out of this right now. It is not looking good for GFAM right now.
Yeah, and he has to really do that because the Force Master, as soon as Won Chigli came in, he put in a lot of damage as soon as he put out burst, but
escapes that Phantom Grip with that mid frost, dodges that ice burst right now. Suwon Kim wants to stay out as long as possible, but he is out of all of his escapes right now for the next 20 seconds, so we'll see if he decides to use another tag point for his team.
But it's really a reminder to the previous tag match we had between these two sides, where the tag points were used so early in the game by the GFAM, and that really costed them the game essentially in the end. not even this time around because still G-Fan doesn't find any answers towards this Force Master.
Yeah, the back roll chase connecting by Youngjin Shin forces Wanxing Lee to use his last interfere points right now.
And there's going to be a lack of resources again for G-Fan, and Min Jung-ho does come in, tries to make something work, but freezes himself, making that interfere useless. And Sang-Jun Lee doing everything right, textbook plays all around, does get stunned up. Well, without the tag point, does go into the Phantom Grip. There's no way that Suwon Kim will be able to escape from this one. Does force out the offensive interfere, actually coming in with the Force Master, putting in some damage. But Suwon Kim still healthy for most part, but doesn't have his escape to work with. And it's going to be the situation where Suwon Kim has to make something happen, but Min Jung-ho does come in.
Okay, Suwon Kim did a good job landing that tremor and tagging out, leaving that opportunity for Min Jung-ho, but she could not capitalize it too much right now.
And not much damage coming in from Min Jung-ho's immediate tag out. Now, you can see that one tag point has been used by every player on G-Fan's side, whereas CHOBO has all of their tag points available. So
be aware that you don't get tag points back.
You don't, and that's going to be the translation into incredible amount of resource advantage that he has. But Suwon Kim, regardless of that play, he's going to make something work, trying to put in some damage, but he's having a difficult time trying to put in the damage that he really wants to.
Yeah, Jae-hoon Lim has to tag out.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Min Jung-ho is lasting out there, and that's what they want to
do. Healing herself back, but this is going to be not good for the TKO if it does happen. But Youngjin Shin out on the field trying to make something work, but Wanxing Lee on the slimmest of health trying to make something work. This is going to be very careful. He does have his escape available, but only one tag point.
One more! One more!
And
woo! Alright, so that was a Blade Master ult.
So he does escape from the last bit of the Blade Master ult, but
there we go, the ult!
Youngjin Shin.
They're just using their ults back to back.
It looks nice, but like the landmine is going to be onto the webbing as soon as he pops in, and he's going to bombard onto the landmine. Actually does connect for double amounts of damage, and Wanxing Lee is going to be looking very slim as he only has one tag that he really has to save up because the later parts of the game. Okay. Now he has to be tagged out with the Suwon Kim. He has one tag point available.
That was dangerous right there.
Yeah, Wanxing Lee could have died if he didn't tag out in time. So that's one of the improvements that G-Fan has made as a team to tag out efficiently.
Sang-Jun Lee heals up. Suwon Kim hits him and dies.
This is really bad for G-Fan because right now Suwon Kim is the only player to have just one tag point available, and even if he's to tag out, the other teammates have to stay intact. But even that interfere trying to come in, forcing that, actually, mark my words, that was a lot of damage coming in from the interfere from Min Jung-ho. But that very good job of G-Fan making a very crucial play now.
Alright, G-Fan is slowly making CHOBO use up their points now.
Yeah, very good of G-Fan to do that, and Youngjin Shin comes back on the assassin, puts the bombard down, but actually takes the damage in return without putting the damage onto his opponent. But Suwon Kim, now being the team captain, has to make this work. The interfere coming in from Sang-Jun Lee.
Force Master doing nothing with the interfere in.
But it's going to be another tag out. Suwon Kim doing exactly what he needs to do, putting the damage onto interfere. Min Jung-ho putting another burst of damage with that interfere. Very good use of the short amount of interfere that they had.
Why isn't he why didn't he tag out?
He had the tag point available. Maybe he was a little bit too startled by the burst of damage that came his way. But Min Jung-ho making the crucial plays 2 times in a row now with the interfere, putting a lot of damage. Now putting CHOBO incredibly behind. This is looking very bad for CHOBO now with that death of Ju-Hwan Lim. This is looking very bad. The Jae-hoon Lim is going to be out, and Sang-Jun Lee is going to be out. This is going to be very crucial for CHOBO. G-Fan really were at a disadvantage, but now they're completely back in the game.
Yeah, good hold on Wanxing Lee, not healing Sang-Jun Lee. Wanxing Lee is going to want to knock out Sang-Jun Lee because it's going to be a 1v1v1. Now, at the 3-minute mark, they all get their interfere points. This is the reactionary 2v2.
It's going to be the deciding match, but actually
Wanxing Lee is taking so much damage.
Wanxing Lee putting a little damage. Youngjin Shin, he has to be the hero for the CHOBO side, putting the bombard down, trying to put in as much damage as he can. He holds still for the survivability. He still stands still with the Wanxing Lee putting down the offensive interfere, trying to make something happen, but Youngjin Shin, he still stays on ground, still healthy enough that he can make something happen.
Alright, G-Fam used all of their interfere points.
This is going to be enough damage. And Wanxing Lee gets out. This is the start of Youngjin Shin. He can do this with an assassin, but it's not good enough to end this out. But what a complete turnaround for just GFAM. I'm really baffled about this entire situation because GFAM was looking like they were going to lose the entire game.
Yeah, like to mid-game, GFAM was using their points like they did on the third set, the tag match, where they lost for wasting or using too much of their points early on. This time around, they did use up their points and they didn't look too well until mid-game. They started to use Min Jung-Oh's interfere very well with Suwon Kim's aerial coming in with Min Jung-Oh's interfere with the Rumblebee, doing tons of damage, knocking one by one.
I think the true MVP of this series, especially for this last tag match, goes to Min Jung-Oh because the lack of resources that GFAM had, they had to use it in the most careful of manners. And the two interferes that Min Jung-Oh decided to use to cover for the offensive interfere put in so much damage that just left CHOBO speechless to one point that one of the players didn't even tag out in time because he was so baffled.
Yeah, well now CHOBO is in the second seed, which next week, Saturday, we'll be seeing CHOBO waiting at the top. Well, not really at the top, like kind of at the top. Waiting for No Name, for No Name and Superman to duke it out to fight them for the second seed for Group A. But yeah, on the replay right now, we see like early on, GFAM using up their points too much.
It was pretty inefficient in how they use up the tag points and interfere points early on, especially the tag points, using it in the first few minutes already. But this is where it begins to burst of damage that I doubted myself for. He should have tagged out right here, but he does keep his ground. I don't know why.
He should have tagged out.
He had plenty of opportunity to do that. And just the overall play by GFAM to have that momentum to really turn this around and never lose hope, even though they were completely behind. They trusted that with the crucial amount of plays and with the burst damage that the summoner can put out, they had good enough opportunities that can make this work, and they really did make it work.
Yeah, I actually, like, to me,